share some things. I got to share some of this with those of you guys that were able to come on Wednesday night to Life Track. I was able to share some of this here a couple of weeks ago, not in complete detail, but I was able to share a good bit of it. And just want to tell you about a few things, share my heart, with you, and say a few things about what's coming up in the next few weeks. First of all, I'm grateful. Do me this favor. I know this seems crazy, but I would like for you to just turn around and either thank somebody or give them a hand clap if you've seen them serving here at Rejuvenate Church. Just give a hand to everybody that serves at Rejuvenate Church. I thank God. I thank you guys so much. And let me explain something to you for a minute, and be patient with me about this. You guys matter so much to me. You matter so much to this ministry. You matter to the kingdom. It matters what you have the ability to produce out of your life, because that's the whole reason you were built. And contrary to what some people might like to tell you, you are built to both function in a purpose for the kingdom as a whole, but you are also built to function in a purpose in the kingdom of the church body. All right, that's the reality. And so God has built every person to function through the body for the kingdom. All right. And so those of you guys that have been serving, have been a part of making this vision happen, I am so grateful for you. I'm so grateful for your time, every bit of energy that you expend to serve this ministry. I'm going to tell you this, and I know it don't mean a whole lot right now because it's just lip service, but if you'll hang with us as a whole long enough, I promise you that you will be greatly rewarded for your heart to serve. Now, I don't mean that we're going to pay everybody a salary. I can't do that. We certainly want to get to a place that we're able to hire a lot of folks. But as far as in being able to appreciate you, to bless you, to do a dinner for you, to provide you with gift, I'm that type of person that I want to be able to rightly honor you for the time that you take to serve this ministry. I believe in that. I believe in showing honor. I believe in appreciation. And I'm just be honest with you, because of the type of ministry that we are, a new start ministry, ground floor up. We don't have a bunch of people and organizations and churches loading us up with money. It's just something that we have not had the ability to do. I mean, dude, if you guys knew how much we operate by faith just to be able to turn the lights on in this place, it would trip you out. But we have been able to do that for a while now, strictly by the faith of God. And so I do want to get to a place to where we can rightfully honor you and appreciate you for what you do, and also obviously increase your help, which is one of the reasons why we're here. I don't believe it wasn't by strategy. I wasn't back 4 months ago thinking about the beginning of September and trying to determine how I could manipulate my messages and the meeting and all this kind of stuff to get everybody together at one time and preach a message on finding where you fit in the body, and then coming and saying, well, you need to fit in the body. I just really believe it's the orchestration by God, and I'm going to tell you why. I really believe this. You can call me a fake if you want to, but I really believe that God is working on something right now, just in a spiritual context, to launch us into a new dimension of what we have the ability to reach. But here's the thing. Churches and organizations that do not structure themselves properly to handle the overflow die. And I'm not trying to. I laid on my couch a year and a half ago when I knew that God was leading me towards this place, and I was praying that God would give us the ability to build something that my children would live out. Are you following me? And so I'm not trying to build. I'm already in my mind thinking about who's going to take over for me one day. I mean, that's where I'm at, is that I want to build something that greatly outlives. I don't want it to be a firecracker. All right. I want this thing to greatly outlive any of us. All right. And to be healthy in the process. Not that when we all move on and die off or whatever else that the church just, no, I want this thing to be healthy. And so I don't believe that we're going to walk in the overflow or the increase of really the masses that God is determining for this place unless we have the ability to serve it properly. Okay? And so that being said, one of the first things that I really want to reach out to you about is serving, is finding a way to be a part of our dream team. and serving in this ministry in some capacity somewhere, and to make this thing function. This right here, I'm just be honest with you, I want you to look around at this room, and a lot of you already serve, and I'm so grateful for that. A lot of you have already got it in your mind, if you haven't served yet, that you're already trying to find ways and people to connect with that you can serve. But this right here, this is a good sized volunteer team, all right? But I'm going to be honest with you, where God's trying to carry us, this still ain't enough, all right? And so I want us to continue to build a healthy environment and a healthy atmosphere. I literally want to break percentages. You're going to hear me talk about this some. I want to break percentages. Now, what does that mean? In two ways, I want to shatter percentages. I want to shatter percentages in our giving, all right? And most of the time, most churches function off of about 10 to 15% of their population gives, all right? Now, listen, I'm going to be honest with you. I ain't going to be one of those preachers that's afraid to talk about giving. I'm going to talk to you about it because I believe in a heart and creating a heart of generosity. That's what we're trying to create at Rejuvenate Church. You've walked in here and you've been able to take a sticker, and you've been able to take a t-shirt, and you've been able to take coffee, and you've been able to take whatever you take, and it ain't cost you a dime. And so I believe in that. I want to be able to give away everything that we can give away and create a spirit and a heart of generosity, because the reality is you sowed into that anyway. It's yours. And so, but I want to shatter the percentages from a giving standpoint. I don't want to be a 10 to 15% giving church. All right, I want us to literally eclipse that and know that what we could do if we eclipse a heart of giving and doing it regularly and at the level that God has challenged us to give. We have a responsibility to be obedient in our tithe, which is 10% of our income before taxes, and it's to be be given revenue. It's our first fruits, and so I want us to be consistent with that, to be on top of that, to break the percentages of that. The above that is the offering. That's the seed for increase in your life. One is obedience that God can supply. The other one is an increased seed. And so I want us to have a mindset to break that. Now I'm going to move off of that, and I'm just going to put it in you to have a heart and a mind that you begin to sow into this ministry and believe in what it can do. I'll tell you this. There's two ways that you can vote in a church. This ain't a voting church. We don't have a committee, a board that we sit down and find out how we're going to spend our money and what color we're going to make the carpet and how we're going to paint the walls and if we're going to buy this and we're going to buy that. And I promise you that will never happen. That will never happen, because God didn't sit in. There wasn't nobody else crying with me when God was challenging me to launch out in this vision. And so I ain't about to hand my baby over to somebody that don't have an understanding how to operate it. And so there won't be no committee to vote on everything that we do. The way that you vote in the church is you vote by attending and giving. That's the two best ways you can vote. If you don't show up and you don't give, that lets me know you don't believe in what we're doing. All right, that's the bottom line. And so I want us to shatter that. The other percentage that I want us to shatter is that in churches all across America, large and small, 20% of the people do 100% of the work. You got 80% of the people that do their own thing and sit by. They come in and they soak up what what a preacher can teach them and tell them, and then they leave. And that ain't doing nothing to build a kingdom. And so 20% of the people do 100% of the work or 80% of the work, and I want to shatter that. I literally want us to be as close to 100% participation as we can. I know that sounds crazy, but I believe in reaching high and big dreams, amen? And so that's why I'm teaching you and telling you that you have a place that you fit. You are important. You're valuable to the kingdom. You're valuable to this body. There is a place that you fit. And so find out how you can make a difference and volunteer on this dream team. Let me give you a couple of ways. First of all, if you have never, thank you, sir. I shattered my watch this morning, and Herb just took care of it for me. If you have never taken the Life Track Connection classes, I would challenge you to do that, because before you can ever operate in our dream team, you need to go through those connection classes, learning about the vision of the church, the mission of the church, why we do what we do, how we do what we do. You also, in the class of it, do a discovery process where you take a spiritual gifts test, you take a passions assessment, a personality assessment, and it allows us to begin to drive you into an area that you can go. We're tweaking that a little bit, all right? And so let me say this. Herb don't even know. He knows part of this, but he don't know all of it. We met yesterday and talked about it some. But we're going to begin having a ministry leaders reception after our discovery class. And so when you go through the discovery class and you've taken your assessment and they've had time, Crystal and Herb have had time to evaluate the spiritual gifts test and all that, that next Sunday we're going to have a reception to where those people that just graduated that discovery class can then go on Sunday morning after service and meet all the ministry leaders so that we can make a connection about, where you fit, where you go. And so we're going to, yes ma'am. We're going to do one. We're going to do a reception. That's the part he didn't know, is that we've talked about doing one in the future, but we're going to do one for those that have already gone through it, that have not had a chance to be connected to somebody or meet some of the ministry leaders. So,
and to piggyback on that, if you have not turned in your 401 assessment yet,
yes, the summary, the 401 summary needs to get back to Herb as soon as he can. Now, let me say this. Let me just highlight the areas of ministry that we have to serve in. We obviously have the things that you see. We have the worship team. We have the children's ministry, which our children's ministry is in great need. I want us to be a very well-oiled children's ministry, and I am so grateful for those ladies and gentlemen that have taken their time to serve in that children's ministry, because it takes a call and an anointing to work with kids. All right? I'm going to be honest with you. That's why I'm up here and not in there, because I ain't built to do it. All right? I had to do it for a year stint twice, and that ain't who I am. All right? So listen to me. Parents, value those people that take care of your kids on Sunday morning. Please, when you pick them up, tell them that they are dang rock stars. Let them know that they matter so much to you and that you're grateful to have them here in this ministry. Now, let me say this. Parents, on the flip side of that, if you have a child in our children's ministry, okay, this is what we're going to begin communicating with new people that come in. If you have a child in our children's ministry, we are asking you kindly and forcefully, to some degree, kindly, if you will begin to offer your services in one time in the rotation. And so what I mean by that is I'm not going to tell you one time a month, because we hope that the rotation covers 2 or 3 months. But one time in the rotation, that if you are not an active part of a functioning, like for instance, if you're on the worship team, that's a little bit of a different ball game. But anybody else, if you're already in the children's ministry, obviously you know that's where you are. But if you're a parent of a child, one time a month, man, offering your time and your service to serve. Now, here's the thing. That does not mean that you have to be the teacher and have to run the class. That means that we're trying to increase the bodies that are in there so that we can serve our children with a safe environment. The reality is we're starting to reach levels with the numbers in our classrooms that aren't even correct by legal standpoints, as far as in ratio to teacher to child. Okay? And so being able to increase that safe environment by having more adult bodies to serve the kids. We have ladies and gentlemen that are going to teach, but just helping care for some of those children. I would appreciate that. And if you are a parent that has a child, please see me or see Missy Wright if you do not know her. She's actually not here today. She's working. Or you can see, and I'm just going to pull him out right now for a minute. You can see Brian Franklin and tell him, Brian, raise your hand, stand up. That's Brian right there. He's raising his hand. If you're a parent with a child and you can get in this rotation once every now and then, see Brian and give him your name, and we're going to begin to function that. We also have guest services team. Our youth ministry, and I'm going to talk about that in just a second, but youth ministry, we have greatly got to increase our production or our involvement with the community. We have not done well with that to this point, and to be honest with you, that's my heart. And I can't keep talking about the people. We want to be about the community if we ain't doing nothing in it. So I want to get involved with the community, so you can get involved in community things. Again, worship team, ushering, helping usher. Our parking lot, we want to get to a place that we're able to greet people when they come in the door, but also in the parking lot too, that we greet them in the parking lot and smiling and pointing them to parking spaces and all this kind of stuff. Listen, guys, my vision, most of y'all already know this, my vision owns the mall. All right? Well, if we own the mall, then we're going to have people at the road pointing them to the next person and directing them here. So that's the vision that we're trying to create, is we got to be structured and prepared to handle that. So we've got several areas of ministry that we do need help in. The post-connection reception, I've talked about that. All right, so youth ministry. This Wednesday night, Michael Moore is our youth pastor. All right, y'all seen him play the drums, but this is our youth pastor. Michael's a senior student at Anderson University in the teaching program, so he has an education background development. That's what he's called and built to do. Well, he feels really he's called to be in ministry, but his education and schooling is an education. He's doing student teaching now. Interacts with kids, does a great job, but he's going to be our youth pastor. He's also a hip hop music or rap artist. Christian rap artist, he's got the ability to do some things with that. But he's going to be our youth pastor. And this Wednesday night, it's nothing big. We haven't promoted it all over the place. It's literally going to be the first gathering of any teens that we already have. That they're going to go in there and have a good time, get to know one another, and do what teenagers do. All right. But now piggybacking off of that, and this is one of the big things that I wanted to talk about. All right. I'm going to show you 2 slides so you can get them both in your head. There's one. All right. And here's 2. All right. On the same night, Halloween night, October 31st, it's on a Saturday this year, from 5 to 7 p.m., the mall has always done a thing called Treats at the Mall. That's where you can bring your kids in a safe environment and walk them all around the mall, and they can dress up and they can get candy. All right, and we participate. Matter of fact, that was the very first thing that Rejuvenate Church ever did at Anderson Mall. We didn't even have the gates open yet, or the church ready yet, but we did Treats at the Mall last year, and we had just gotten the property that month. And so Treats at the Mall, they're doing it again this year, but all right, because we've now been able to start building a relationship with the marketing director. Braylon, get up, son. That's my kid, y'all. Head gone. I wanted to get on some. That's my kid. Son, I'll bust you in the head of the white meat, boy, I swear. Treats at the Mall. Now here's the thing, marketing, okay? We sat down and met. I sat down, Mike and I sat down and met with the marketing director of the mall 3 weeks ago, something like that. Now let me just tell you, I'm not going to go into the whole meeting, but when you sit down with a mall and their administration, and you're already curious if being a church in a public setting, if it's kind of a friction environment, you kind of have this thing in the back of your mind like, well, I know we're supposed to overtake this thing one day, but how do they feel about me with us being here right now? And so that's always in the back of your mind. Well, we sit down and begin to talk, and then she sits back and she's like, well, I want to know what I can do to help y'all more. All right, God. Connection matters, right? And so she says, we begin talking about some things, and I start talking about some ideas of some things that we've wanted to do or we've already done. I brought up the open mic night that we did that one time, and she's like, oh, that's great. We would love, now listen, she says, we would love for y'all to do a summer or a fall concert series. Not in here, out there, out front of the mall or out in the middle of the mall or whatever. She's like, I'd love for y'all to do something like that, and we can take that and just move it out into the mall somewhere, and you don't even have to do it in your facility. And then I said another thing that we thought about doing was doing movies at the mall. We thought about doing a movie night for families here in the sanctuary. She's like, I've been wanting to do that for a long time, movie under the stars. She's like, well, y'all can start it in there. Maybe we can just move it one day outside of the mall if it grows to be bigger than that. And so she's jumping on board with all this kind of stuff. And then we get to talking about what we really went in there to talk about was this Halloween thing. And I asked her, I said, so Treats in the Mall, still doing it this year? Everything's still good? She's like, yeah, but we had a little bit of problem with participation, and we really would like to increase the participation a little bit. And so we're trying to figure out ways to do that. Do y'all have any ideas? And we're like, well, we're kicking off our youth ministry, all right? And the part of kicking off our youth ministry is we want to do a concert, because we've got our youth pastor is a hip hop music artist, but he also knows about 35 other hip hop music artists, and we'd like to do a concert for teenagers. And so I said, we would like to do that, wherever. She's like, well, that's great. You can do it in the mall. If we're like, well, the sound, it may bother the sound, but either do it in the mall. What we're probably going to do is actually do it in this parking lot back here at our rear entrance. But we're going to do a concert for the youth on Halloween night. The concert's going to be from 5 to 6:15?
Yeah, 5 to 6:15.
And then after that, it's going to be kind of like an after-concert mingle or after-concert party for the youth only. This is 12 to 18 for the youth only in our youth room. And Michael's mom and dad, or Michael's dad's coming to cook up some ribs or some chicken or something. Barbecue something. Anyway, he's coming to he's providing food. They're providing food for our youth, and he's going to explain a little bit that night about what our youth ministry is about. And so y'all, talk to folks, let them know that we got our youth ministry kicking off. We're going to do that on October 31st, the Impact Halloween for the youth. But now we don't want to leave the mall out, right? So we're going to find a way to work with the mall. So I said, okay, the Treats at the Mall thing, what can we do to help participation? Well, one of the first things that I'm trying to work to do is to get inflatables inside the mall for the kids. All right, now here's the thing. Inflatables cost money, right? I need your prayer. if you know somebody that's willing just to let, you know them, they in the business and they just going to let you have them, then so be it. But otherwise, we need to pray for the increase that God will give us the ability. Because I'm going to tell them we're doing inflatables and I'm just going to do everything, do this like I've done everything else. We're going to do it and God's going to work it out. And so we're going to have inflatables here and we're going to trust that God's going to provide the funds to do the inflatables. Do that for the kids. But now this is where it gets a little bit better. She said, we've still got to figure out a way to increase, participation amongst the stores in the candy giving process. So we're like, okay, let's figure this out. And so they're going to provide the candy for everybody. Now in the past, all the stores have had to buy their own candy. But the mall is going to buy the candy for every store if we'll provide the volunteers for every store to hand it out. All right. Now, we're talking about some serious exposure and the chance to connect with a lot of people, folks. That means that at every doggone store, as long as the store will participate, at every doggone store, we get to have a volunteer with one of these shirts on handing out candy, and the store ain't got to do nothing but open their door up. Yeah. The mall pays for the candy. We hand it out with a smile, tell them thank you for coming by, whatever, the jewelry store today. Here's you some candy, and just love on them. I don't even want you to say nothing about Rejuvenate Church. I just want you to hand them candy. You follow me? They ain't going to have a choice but to see a bunch of these dang blue and white shirts and say, where them folks from? Yeah. All right? So here's the thing, though, guys, is I'm talking about there's a lot of stores in the mall. And I don't want to let them down. Right. And so I need every single volunteer that we can get. And even maybe you bring your cousin, too, if he'll come. All right? Because here's the thing, is we're not just going to have volunteers for the handing out candy, but we're going to have volunteers to man the inflatables and volunteers to be outside at the concert. So we probably going to have, I think there's 40-something stores. We're probably going to have like 60 volunteers that night. All right? But guys, I'm telling you what, man. Herb Jordan said something here several months back that he said there's going to be 3 events or 3 things happen that launched, and on that 3rd event or whatever, it's going to burst this ministry into a new dimension. Now, I don't know if God's told him whether those 1 or 2 or 3 events have already happened, but I guarantee you this is one of them. And so I don't want to miss that. All right. This is where we begin to do what I get passionate about doing, and that's connecting with the community and letting them know that we love them and we want to serve them. All right. So please, make plans to be a part of that Halloween night. You can bring your kids too, and you and your wife or whatever, y'all trade off and serve and carry a kid around, or we'll take a couple of our teenagers and walk them all around to get candy or whatever. But just please make plans to be here. Your kids are going to have fun being here at it anyway, and inflatables and candy. Listen, man, a kid will go stupid over a Jolly Rancher by itself. So just bring your kids, man, and come serve. Yes, ma'am. Well, I ain't got that far yet. It starts at 5 o'clock, and it's on a Saturday, though. So nobody, most folk ain't working, So it's on a Saturday. If you are working, you got a month and a half to take it off. Saturday, October 31st, 5 to 7 p.m. Listen, I love football more than anybody sitting in this room. And one thing I can promise you is that there will be a football game on this TV right here. Okay? So don't worry about trying to stay away for the football game. Don't worry about that. You come serve anyway, and if you got to catch a sneak peek really quickly of what the score is, it'll be going on. All right? Don't worry about that. I'm removing all barriers for you being here and being a part of it and serving. All right? So come and trust me, it's hard for me to do something on a Saturday in the fall. And so this challenges me, but I care about the kingdom more. So I'm going to be here. And we're going to serve this thing, and we're going to have a good time. And everybody in Anderson is going to know who Rejuvenate Church is come Halloween night. So volunteer with that. If you are willing to sign up for that, please see one of our guest service team. You can see me. You can see my wife. You can see Denise. You can see Tommy. Marion, if any of those, our guest service team, let them know I want to volunteer. I will be here that night, and we're going to begin compiling a registration form. Please do this, man. I'd love for everybody to walk out of this room today and have everybody signed up. And so, and on the way out, you can give another offering too. Everybody signed up, serving on that day, okay? need you guys so much that day. And here's the thing, I want to so bless them in this day that they're ready to work with us again, that they're ready to do a movies at the mall, they're ready to do a concert series. She was already talking to me about next fall in this parking lot over here between IHOP and Lifeway. She said, we own that parking lot, and that parking lot ain't been used in years, and it faces Clemson Highway right there. And she said, I'd love for y'all, while people are driving by going to the Clemson games next year, that y'all set something up and do something in that parking lot. I'm like, man, this woman here wants us to have all kind of exposure. And so I'm eating this up. I'm looking at God, and I'm like, God, it's all about connections, man. I ain't got to have all the money. I just got to find the people that do. Now, let me give you the money part of this. She can't give us dollars. She can't hand us dollars and say, here, y'all go do what you want. Let me tell you what they are going to do or what they can do, though. It's for everything that we do, that we partner them to do. Any event, movies at the mall, treats at the mall, yada, they are going to do all the marketing for. They're going to pay for the banners. They're going to put it on their website. They're going to put it on their Twitter feed. They're going to pay for the marketing for the event, which means that on Simon Mall Properties marketing stuff is going to be Rejuvenate Church. All right? That means something to me. That means something to me. And so get excited about this thing, man. We're starting to go somewhere. We're starting to go somewhere. All right. I'm about done. I want to say two things really quickly, two other things to kind of, before I wrap this up, three things maybe. Let me bring up the fundraiser again that I haven't mentioned in 2 weeks. If you walk out in the mall or out in the hallway right here, you'll see a little podium on the left. It's a money board. It's numbers 1 to 200. And basically what that is according to what you have the ability to do. Now, we say that, but I'm going to challenge you, because a lot of times it ain't faith if it's only what we have the ability to do. And so listen to what God is challenging you to do. But you can take one of those envelopes from 1 to 200 and put a gift, a seed or whatever in that envelope, turn it in the offering, give it to the guest services team. If you need to do it by card swipe, whatever, then do that. But let me tell you what's going to happen. First of all, God's going to bless your life. That's going to happen. I promise you that. But second of all, simply, man, by having a money board from 1 to 200, all right? If we have the ability to tap out every dollar amount, 1 to 200, we're talking $20,000. That's just you picking up an envelope that's got 85 and you pay your 85. And somebody else is picking up one that's got 24 and they're paying their 24. $200 is what we have $20,000 is what we have the ability to raise based on that. We could greatly use that right now. And so I encourage you, if you will, to be a part of that 1 to 200 fundraiser. Tell your friends about it on social media or whatever. Share it with them if they want to get in and are willing to give something to that. Denise and Tommy Loggins, where are you guys at? There's Denise, there's Tommy. Y'all turn around and look really quickly so that you can see them. Denise and Tommy are our missions pastors. All right, they work with a group called Live Simply for Peru. Okay, they are now ready to begin training a missions team to go to Peru. Okay, they are projecting to go to Peru next June or something like that. Next June. Okay, but they're going to begin the training now. At the end of September, I think, is when they're talking about doing their initial training. If you are interested in being a part of a missions team and going to Peru with Tommy and Denise, please make sure that you see them. They're going to get you registered for doing the training. It's like a 4 or 5 week training class initially, and then you guys will do, when you finish that, you'll do some more things leading up to going to Peru, and then they'll have another kind of a training session before you leave to go to Peru. Yes, ma'am. Okay, it's a prerequisite, which means you got to take this 4-week class to be able to go to Peru in the summer. Yes, sir.
And it's not just for Peru. Once you pass this class, revive the second Sunday at 5 o'clock. Once you pass this class, any foreign mission, you'll be certified to be able to go on those foreign missions.
Yeah, any of them that they do. Let me say this. Let me ask you guys this, because we haven't discussed. I'm meeting with Tommy and Denise this week to go over this. Will there be options for people, because we do have some swing shift people, will there be options for people to make up whatever they miss?
Kevin just asked that. We will work with you.
Okay.
You know, if you're off on something, we really need to.
Yeah.
You're on something. We do have, in Kevin's case, where he works every other weekend, and we will set up some opportunities for makeup classes.
All right, last thing is I'm giving you a prayer list. Please pray for this ministry, obviously. Pray for each person that serves in this ministry. We obviously need to increase our volunteer investment in leadership. There are some specific things that we would like to see happen. I would like to see a children's pastoral team. We've talked about this a little bit, but that's who they are. They're built, they're gifted, they're anointing, that they're built to pastor children, and that's who they are. I want God to send those people in here, and then every other, sound and guests, just everything. We need to pray for laborers. Jesus even said, man, the harvest is great, but the laborers are few. And so pray for laborers. That's what he said, pray for laborers. So let's pray for laborers and prepare this body for that. Pray obviously for the financial increase that we can do. I want every area of ministry to be able to function completely in the way that God has built it to function. I don't want it to have to operate in lack. I want it to operate fully funded. I want each ministry. I want to be able to sit down and give each ministry, this is your budget, and man, you wear it out with this thing. You go make ministry happen. And so pray that we will continue to see the increase.